I'm Atalanta, and this is Soul Connection. Soul Connection is a series dedicated to teaching you how to tap into and connect to your soul on a deeper level. We will be exploring spirit versus soul, mass meditation, chakra energy, vibration, and connecting to all. We will learn how to tap into our soul and figure out what our purpose is on this earth in this lifetime.
Of Soul Connection, and this is our second episode of the 8-part mini-series. We are doing intuition today and exploring what is intuition, how to tap into it. I have Jason here from New York. How are you?
I'm good, Atalanta. How are you?
Great. Okay, so let's just kind of jump right on into it. Do you want to just
Sure.
first introduce yourself for a second? Tell people like who you are, what you do.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jason. A laws of attraction practitioner. Intuition plays a big role in that for me, and making those manifestations come to life, to truth, reality. So I'm really looking forward to this episode and subject. This hit.
Okay, well, let's do it. What is intuition to you? What does it have?
It's intuition to me has always been. It's a magical feeling, actually. It really feels to me as I've gotten older and worked on it. It's a joyous feeling to connect to, and there are times where it escapes you, but to me that's just part of the process. I believe there was a time where it was supposed to escape you, but it's a feeling. It's not words. It's not. And I got a really good way to explain it too. But it's more of like an influence. So as people, we perceive everybody perceives something different, like artwork. Me and you can look at something, you could like it, I can hate it. Bottom line, right? All those different. Everyone has a different perspective. Intuition to me could be different for you because that feeling for me or that influence that may come to me in that time, I could attribute to something totally different, like artwork, than you would. Maybe it would influence me to go down one path because of my experiences in life, but to someone else, it would make a totally different curve for them, right?
Okay.
So intuition, I think, however you achieve it, I don't know, it's different for everybody. For me, it was more of survival type of mode. It actually works well. And how I can compare it is like if you've ever been a salesman, right? Salesman always there was an expression my dad used to use because he was one as well. I was one at one point. When you're on, meaning like you could have a really great day at work and sell all this shit, whatever the hell you're selling, and you're just like on fire. It's more of like you're in alignment of what you've currently been waiting for. You put the laws of the universal laws into action, which is part of the laws of attraction. You take that step into trying to make it happen. Sometimes, I'm not gonna say most of the time, different for everybody, but there could be times where you're going down the totally wrong path, but it's not the point. The point is you're putting in the effort. You eventually get slammed into the right path.
What I'm doing right now is I'm deciding what needs to be decided by intuition and what needs to be decided by intellect. Okay. Or what needs to be addressed by intuition, what needs to be addressed by intellect. Intuition is there. It is your soul speaking to you to connect you, to give you guidance on making the right choice. Whereas logic, experience, things like that, is how to get from here to there. In other words, okay, my choice is made, my decision's made, my choice is made. Now I have to get there. So now I have to use my intellect. Do you see where I'm coming from? What are your thoughts about that? This is just like something that has been brought to me over the last few months very specifically like this. Yes,
Oh,
with what I agree, but this is like, so now that I'm looking at it from this point of view, I'm like, it's not simple to do, but it's simple to see. What are your thoughts? So you got intuition, you have logic and intellect.
oh. The difference is, all right. So I kind of look at it like this: is the intuition is the gift, the intellect is the curse. Now this is gonna sound crazy, but follow me. It's actually pretty cool. So respecting all different religions, right? This is just the one I choose to use for the moment, right? So, story of Adam and Eve and the tree of knowledge. One, but okay, ate from the tree of knowledge, and now you got cast out from the kingdom of God. All right, because now you know. Because now that you know the difference between good and evil, you have the choice. But that's the intellect, and the intellect can either get you or give you in a good place or a bad place. So it's a gift and a curse. The intuition guides you from your heart, where your true intention is going to be. The intellect usually can get in your way at first, but then when you sharpen it, and that's where you become more of a master at the laws of attraction, pulling what you want toward you, but putting yourself in that position.
Think about it this way too. The intellect is the knowledge, like you said,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Your intuition, let's go back to making decisions and then putting those decisions into play.
Yeah.
Let's say your intuition says, I need to get a job as an attorney. Okay. That's what my intuition. No, that would be intuition. I need to get a job as an attorney. That would be my intuition. Okay, follow me. That would be my intuition saying, you know what, Atalanta, if you got a job as an attorney, you would do really well. You would help people. You would make money. So my intuition's telling me this. Here's the thing: I have to have the intellect to back up how to do it. So the intellect is the knowledge, how to get from where I am right now to becoming that attorney. That's where that comes in. Do you see now how they come together?
Yes, and then and it's almost like the infinity symbol because they go hand in hand. So as the same as it's duality, right? At the same time they work together like that, they also work together in the opposite, where you got to follow your intuition to sharpen your intellect. And then that could be a hurtful process. Part of that is unlocking certain doors, certain experiences, certain things you needed to do to continue,
and it's hard to do. It's hard to differentiate between the two. This is literally what I am putting into play right now into my life. Is I am categorizing intuition, intellect, intuition. Had I listened to my intuition many times in my personal life, my intuition is really on point when it comes to other people, for sure. It's there.
Yeah.
But my intuition is really on point and has been really on point. However, my intellect tends to influence my intuition when it comes to like my personal life, because the intuition is your soul, which is, I always use, remember how I do, Jason, do you remember how I use up here, down here, but I don't really mean up here and down here? Okay. So your soul is up there trying to communicate with your body, and your spirit down here, and that's through intuition. But yes, it's hard to separate the two. That's what I'm practicing right now, is separating the two. What about you with your intuition? Is it always do you have a hard time trusting it, or do you just know? Are you 100% okay? I got this.
No, I found a secret. It's the intellect ended up, this is just my experience, right? Everybody can practice it differently, but the intellect for me, and just the way I think, ended up, when I really sat back and did some kind of shadow work and think about what time has passed, the amount of times it would get in the way, or when you go through certain experiences in life, you gain certain things, you don't have to go through them again, right? So they really shouldn't be part of your day-to-day. But if they do come across, it could be a inclination that you're not on the right path. like, make a different decision or go, a different direction. So for me, I found it much easier and a happier experience to just practice living in the present more, and that influences less of your decisions, and you follow more your intuition without realizing it. Which is
I
actually it's having faith. Is really what it
Mhm.
boils down to. So you
Taking
still
that
have
step.
yeah, we're human, right? You still you got the three different ways of, you can be patient, you know what I mean? You could push, or you could just forget about it. The three different ways of going about it. You know what I mean? You got to experience all of the emotions. Yeah.
I like it. I never thought about the whole living. That's another thing that I like to do is concentrate on living in the present. It was actually my son that preached that to me over and over again. And you do these things. You do these things. Everybody does. Most everybody practices these different things and different techniques. And so we have to be reminded to do them. It's a matter
Yeah.
of habit, treating the
Yeah.
habit.
I have a visual that may help. Hopefully I can try to explain it quickly if that would be okay.
That's perfect.
So in the line of business I'm in the technology business. I'm just going to explain something really just kind of basic, that pretty much anybody can understand, but then we can associate it into this world, spirituality, magic, energy work, laws of attraction, however you want to put it. It's the basis of it is energy, and we can relate it to ourselves too. That's the whole point of why I'm trying to explain this. And why living in the moment is so important, because living in the intellect or living in the what's going to happen tomorrow and where should I go, there's less faith in that and more noise rather than following your intuition. But yeah, you need both. They hand in hand. So it's not like you're abandoning one. It's just dialing down to just in the moment. There's less of a chance of it. You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
So if I don't know if you've ever been in a building, maybe in a basement of an industrial building, I don't know, but I'm sure everybody at some point have seen a bundle of wires. If those wires have any kind of data traffic, electric traffic, or whatever going through them, they have a magnetic field around them. So one of the tools we use in the business is a toner. Basically, it's a thing about the size of a pen, has a speaker on it and a little button. And when you press the button, the speaker, it's supposed to help you identify what's live and what's not. So the speaker will make a noise beep if the cable has a charge on it or not.
I know what you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah, it makes like a little noise.
Yep. Okay. So that said, part of my career when I'm dealing in spaces like that was I had to try to just a personal, excuse me, I'm sorry, that was unprofessional, but just a personal, I had to understand why when I'm going into situations like that, certain cables would fail. It just didn't make any sense. You make it, it works, and all of a sudden, why would one out of a bundle die? Come to all my little, experiments that I did. Basically, what it is it would be some kind of an imperfection, and that magnetic field basically wearing it to a point where it would fail. It wouldn't conduct electricity anymore, or a magnetic pole would just be gone. If you take that same premise on how energy would work in that respect to people, it's like, if you're putting all this, whatever energy you're putting out there in thought is what's coming back to you. So
Mhm.
just because in the moment you decided to change the tune doesn't mean that energy is still not there. It's still there. It's coming back. So what it turns into is that same situation I just explained, noise. And it's gonna keep on trying to get back in until it wears something away, usually. But that's where maybe this could be a different conversation. I don't know, but like life lessons come in. It's like a life. I believe there's certain tests in life, or it's more of achievements, keys, unlocks. You know, some people understand that, some people don't. I think people that have tried to achieve something in their life and really pushed, get it. because you had, had to go through those experiences. And maybe some people that have maybe a little bit more cushy or are more of a cubicle type of person, which is nothing wrong with that. Maybe they have a
No.
harder time understanding it.
I
Right?
think that's more of an intellect thing, though. I think that's more on the surface, like an intellect thing, than an intuition. I don't know. I guess it could be both.
Well,
I guess
it
both.
like for me, in my thought process is the body is the magnet. So the body's, I believe the body has two spirits: intellect, breath, air, the life you have in you, and then the body, the mechanics of it. You feed it; it's an engine. Burns off calories, it expends, and both need each other. But one, I guess your breath spirit can't live without the body, but the body can. People are in comas, unfortunately, that happens. But you see, there's something missing. There's a light. There's something just not there. Even though everything's working, everything's pumping.
What do you do to tap into your intuition? Is there something like? Did it come naturally for you?
In the beginning, it was defense, then became natural. But was effort. First, I had to obviously put effort into getting to that headspace. Now, after so much time, the headspace is just who I am now. So and it's definitely a feeling of accomplishment. It's a great feeling.
Do you feel like you follow it more so than you follow? Like when it
That's all.
comes to, you do? You
Absolutely,
follow it?
absolutely.
How long did
Because
it
when
take you? How long did it take you to get used to doing that? Because
um,
as people, like society and stuff, I mean, we we were created to use those two things for those two things: the
yeah,
intuition and the intellect. That's how
yeah,
we were created. But over years and years and years and years and years, and as people, start to worship,
yeah,
knowledge is very important. Knowledge that you're learning is very
yeah.
important. We know that. You and I talk about that all the time, and we're always
Mhm.
seeking to know new things and know more things. But we've lost as a society. I'm saying as a
Mhm.
society,
Mhm.
we have lost our trust and intuition and our belief in
Yeah,
intuition.
absolutely, absolutely.
The gut feeling that people talk about. Nobody trusts
Yeah.
it anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, and it's unfortunate because that's what what your soul needs is it's your purpose. I believe everybody. I believe there's purpose. Everybody has, you know, something to contribute. It's all about we all need each other, and just as I've explained to you in the past, I'm an introverted person for most of the part. I have to be both, in my life, but for the most part, my comfort zone by myself. Um, but it's something you got to get used to. You got to get used to becoming a part of that community. You need that energy. That's the whole reason from that person to help wherever you're transitioning to, wherever the goal was, your
in the
initial intention.
metaphysical community and the pagan and the metaphysical community, our witchy community, those most people trust intuition
Mhm.
pretty easily for the most part. It just depends. And with me, my challenge is, like I said, my personal life. I have that intuition and I've seen things, and then I what do you call it? I justify. I
Yeah,
justify. I
yeah,
justify. And I do it all this, I can't say that I do it. I no longer do that. I
yeah.
have put it into play. I'm being careful with my words. I no longer do that. Okay. Because I'm not putting that into the universe. That's it. No, but anyway, no, I am learning to always trust my intuition. And I think it's a lifelong practice that you
Yeah,
have to,
yeah,
because living in the world that we live in today, it is an
yes,
intellectual world, period.
yeah, yeah. You and I spoke privately and on prior shows too, but I did have an experience in life where I knew that there was another side that I did connect with, and
Mhm.
it was around my early 20s maybe, and it was since then that I knew there was something else, and where I kind of took that back seat, and I was like, let the intuition take me for a ride. I was already getting beat up on the outside world anyway, so what was going to help? Like, it wasn't going to be much worse. And it. I just feel it's such a gift to be able to recognize it, to sit with it. It's when you do reach that point of of relationship with it, um, it's giddy. I don't know how to explain it. You know how I explain it?
You know, I've been, no matter what, over the last period of time,
Mm.
recent period of time, I have been trusting my intuition, and just it's a leap of faith. And I'm telling you, sometimes it was difficult, but I'm like, nope, I'm just going on my intuition. And damn, has it been so accurate? And I'm going, oh my gosh. And then whenever I realized that it was correct, look, let me just reiterate this, okay? When it comes to other people, not a problem. I can just look at a situation. I'm at a point now in my readings where somebody sits down, and I usually know what it is that their reading is going to be about now. It's just
Wow.
sit down. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. I get a picture, and I joked about it months ago, like about almost a year ago. My forehead was itching, and we made this joke. Oh, your third eye is opening more. Yeah, it was, because
Yeah.
now, you know, but here's the thing, when it comes to my personal life, I was not allowing that intuition to take precedence over everything else. Oh, that's another thing too. Let's talk about this intuition and outside influences. Okay.
Yes.
Intuition is that very first feeling. It's not, okay, it's not after you talk to somebody. It's not after you look at somebody. Those are outside influences. Intuition is when you very first, maybe somebody mentions something to you, or if you're meeting somebody, you just, you know, okay, I've met them. It's that first feeling that you get before society can talk to you, before your friends can talk to you, before your loved ones can talk to you, before yourself, your heart can talk
Yeah.
to you. It's the very first feeling. And that's the part that's hard to tap into for a lot of people in their personal life.
Yeah.
That's where I struggled, was trusting that feeling, because sometimes you want it to be something else. And so you're like, okay, it's something else. I'm wrong. Do you see where I'm
Okay.
coming from now?
Yeah.
With other people, it's not hard to do, because
Yeah.
it's another person. But for yourself, it's a little harder.
I found it really, really, just from my heart, it's really beneficial to get in touch with your intuition, because not trusting it and looking back on it and getting hurt, you know, by that, if it's a mistake, um, it really sets you back, because you have to build back up what you just lost. You know, it's a relationship with your intuition. You don't
It is.
follow it. Yeah, you don't follow it. It does get dusty. You know, and to make that reconnect makes it different for everybody.
Said, I like what you said. It's a relationship.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
It is a relationship. You have to nurture it, because it's like with anything else. If you're out of practice, you know, working magic, when you work magic, when you first started working magic, you were like, you might have been going through the motions. You might have been putting some energy out there and putting some energy into things, but it wasn't until later, as you understood how it was, you know, how it works basically, and what it really is, and you know, and all this other stuff. Why are you even doing these things? You know, as you
yeah,
started to understand, your magic abilities increase. And it's the same thing with intuition. Like I said, when I have somebody sit before me and I'm reading for them, I don't have a problem at all, no problems. Where I was not trusting my intuition was with myself, because I wasn't listening to it. I was listening to the intellect. You know, let me go back to the intellect. I was listening to the intellect. I was not listening to my soul, which was the
yeah.
intuition.
Yes,
So
yes.
I do like that it's a relationship. I do.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, unfortunately, this is a short show, so we
Okay.
are out of time. But once again, I thank you so much for coming on,
It
and
was a
we have a
pleasure.
lot of
Thank you.
to do, and this is only the beginning.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.